I asked the actors. You've made 3 different characters that aren't necessarily likable characters. They rob people, but they are. You do care. How that's got to be a kind of tricky thing as a director. How did you make that work?
I think it's never been for me. I mean, there's a school of screenwriting these days that is kind of wrong. That always says like you have to create likable characters. I don't agree with that. I agree you have to create characters that you can empathize with them, that you can understand why they do the things they do, right? And that's what really makes you to care about them living or dying at the end of the course of the story. But I didn't invent that. I mean, think about Hitchcock. Who is nice in his movies? Like. Janet Leigh, she's stealing money from this guy that was planning to buy a house for his daughter. Jimmy Stewart, he's a peeping Tom, or even Jimmy Stewart in Vertigo. In Vertigo, he's this guy. He's obsessed with this girl and trying to turn her into someone else. They're all bad people, strangers on a train. They're like plotting to kill. They're never. Does that make them, hard to watch movies? Or no way.
Yeah.
Because all it matters is you understand what they want. Would you like to get $1 million? Of course. I mean, most people would say like, why not? Would you dare to go in someone's house? No. And because it's the dare is the part that also you admire, I guess. That the balls to go and do certain things that maybe you will do in a different life. So I think, again, it's empathizing the word and it's not liking necessarily. And Shady Morals makes for great movies because I think you never know how it's going to end because you don't know who's supposed to win, right? Who deserves the money? Who deserves to die? Who deserves to live? If there's one nice person or the virgin, that person will be the one that will live and survive. Mm-hmm. So there's none of that in my movies usually, and that's why usually you will never know who will survive it, right?
Well, I also think that there's desperate times right now. We're seeing a lot of desperation. We're seeing a lot of that. I think it also fits in politically where we are. Just you look at the news. Working with Jane again. You put her through the ringer, man. Oh my God! And what is it? It's almost like she's your muse now at this point. What is it like working with her again and building yet another fascinating character with her?
I mean, that's a lot of credit to who she is and what she brings to my stories. But she never fakes an emotion. Like she's fully committed and she's always giving 200%. And when you see her on set. She's never gonna phone it in. Like she's so committed. That's why I think she suffers sometimes a lot making these films because nothing is a faked emotion, right? Everything she's really good. And me as a director, I really try to give my actors like the real thing as an experience, right? Like some of those scenes you watch is actually the first time that Stephen Lang interacts with them. I isolate him from them and the pre-production and first days so they don't become buddies and then it becomes the thing that's all fake. Like when they finding him in the house, maybe that's the first time they see him since they arrived to set. So it makes for a lot of things. I always try to give them the real adventure. So the actors are like, they don't have to fake it. Or, if there's a countdown, the door's going to open. I tell the actors in 3 it's going to open. And I tell the guy, open in 2. So when he's about to go in her mind, she thinks there's a countdown and suddenly opens before. So you get to scare them for real. And then they come to me and they bitch at me and they scream at me. But then I usually, or hopefully, at the end of the whole process, they're happy that they got great performances and the movie worked, right?
And you put them in the dark, which is unusual. How did that go about, and how did you approach that scene specifically?
It was definitely a challenge. Like it's always tempting to go to full darkness in movies, particularly scary movies, because full darkness is such a scary feeling for anybody. We all been through that, like at some point, just in your bedroom, like turn off the light, and so it really takes you to a primal state of fear. But unfortunately, cameras need light to work, so that kind of catch-22 situation. But we thought like, okay, what can we do to have a scene that is pitch dark, but the audience actually can enjoy every minute of it and see what's happening. So we developed this kind of look that you see in the movie that is kind of strange and bizarre, but and kind of reminiscent of night vision without being night vision because nobody has a camera. And it was really a leap of faith. I mean, we went for that. We developed the look. We need some light to see. But then the actors had these pupils dilated, right? So those were lenses, and those lenses were blinding them. So they're actually not pretending to be blind most of the time. They actually couldn't see a lot, right? So it became this kind of strange and clever, trick that made it work pretty well.
You've come from doing what I thought was a very successful remake, a reboot, Evil Dead, to doing an original story, what was the process like, and why this story? Why was this next step for you?
I think my process was, though I enjoyed the hell out of Evil Dead, right, as a filmmaker, and you knew a lot of people had the pressure, and there was a lot of hate at the beginning, and the fact that we were going to remake a classic, and I was part of that same hate when I was an audience and I heard about that. And then I was me doing the job. But I was so excited I was going to do my first movie that the excitement was just above everything else. So I couldn't really be bummed out by any of that. But then eventually, I think because of that, we managed to make a movie that at least, some people could say that it surprised them and it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So, but nonetheless, the whole process of Evil Dead, then looking back, I was like, I kind of hate that there was some reviews that was like, it's good, but the original is better. It was like, what does that mean? Like, if the audience goes to the theaters and just watch a movie, they do not compare it with anything else.
No.
So but I completely agree. I'm taking a lot of ideas from the original, so they have the right to compare it because, it's the rule of the game. So that's why I want to make my original film. I just want to start from scratch, get a white page, think my own idea. What would I do if I started from scratch and really make a film that felt like it was my first film? Like, it would have make more sense that I make this movie first and then I get to do the Evil Dead remake, right? But I decided to do it the other way around because I needed that movie in my life. I needed that scary movie that just come from me and from a white page and see that on the screen. It was crucial for my life.
I still want to see what you did with Evil Dead 2, man. It's gotta happen.
We'll see. We'll see.
Right?
It's always there in the conversations. It might happen someday. Who knows?
Exactly.